Hi, second graders. All right, so I stumbled upon some worksheets that I thought would be a great thing to start math with each day. So just as kind of an overview, you should be doing extra math every morning before live meetings. So first thing in the morning to just get it out of the way. But then I'm sending these home this week, and there's one each day. And I like them because they're just one question about different skills that we need to know in second grade. So it keeps them fresh in your mind. So for example, this one has some base 10, it has some measurement, it has some part whole, some making groups of 5, and some shapes. Okay, so it's going to be in order, and the first thing you're going to do every math time after you do number corner is you're going to sit down, and this is just what we're going to call as a math warm-up. So you're going to do your math warm-up. It should take probably, 5, maybe 10 minutes. Shouldn't take super long. There's only about 5 questions per sheet. So it's stapled. You'll leave it stapled 1 page a day. You'll do it in order. So you're not going to hop around. So this one says B1 on the top. You'll do B2 the next day, and so on and so forth. You do have an extra one this week since pickup was on Tuesday. So feel free to do that one, the last one, so B5 at any point. But it is good practice. All right. Now let's get on to our lesson. We have started talking about measurement, and there's lots of things that you can measure. You can measure length. You can measure, so length is how long something is. You can measure height, which is how tall something is. You can measure width, which is how wide something is. So let's look at this. If I have a book, the length would be how long the book is, the height, and the width. Okay, so you can measure 3 things. Really, this would be the width, but it's hard to measure a tiny, skinny book. So let me think of a better example. I'm in a room recording, so I have limited supplies. Here's a stack of books. Here's better. So here's the length, the height, and then the width is how thick it is. All right. So we're going to keep talking about that. You can also measure things like weight, or sometimes when you're cooking, you have to measure ingredients using cups or teaspoons. That's a whole different kind of measurement. We're just focusing on length and height and width this week. And you use 3 tools to measure those things. You can use rulers, you can use yardsticks, and you can use tape measures. A ruler has 12 inches on it, and you can also call the 12-inch ruler 1 foot. So there's 12 inches in 1 foot. And you would use a ruler to measure smaller things. So for example, if I wanted to measure my cell phone, I could use a ruler. If I wanted to measure my driver's license, I could use a ruler or a glue stick, or on this page, for example, a paper clip. Okay? So you are going to be practicing estimating length today and actually measuring it. And it's good to do that. I estimate length all the time when I don't have a ruler, but I can think about how long something is. So I gave the example in class that if I hold up my pinky, about half of my pinky is 1 inch. Now, it's not exact, but about half of my pinky and about half of your pinky is 1 inch long. So knowing that, I can make good estimations. I'm going to exit out of this. So knowing that, here's a paper clip, and you're going to look at an object, and you're going to estimate first. So just looking at this object, and I'm looking at my pinky. Now, granted, this ruler down here is like a smaller ruler. Okay, so notice there's not 12 inches on this, so we're just going to pretend. But if I just look at this paper clip, my estimate is that it's 1 inch. And I'm going to type in that whole word, 1 inch. So now I can grab the ruler and I can bring it up. So remember, when you are measuring, both things have to be flat. And I'm going to put my ruler right up, right where my paper clip starts is right where I want my ruler to start. Okay, so my estimate was 1 inch, but when I look at my actual, it's 2 inches. Now, I had some questions yesterday about, well, it's not quite to the 2. You're right. And as you get older, you will measure halves and quarters and all that stuff. But right now, since we are just starting to talk about it, we're just going to choose which number it's closest to. So I noticed that this paper clip, it's between the 1 and the 2, but it's closer to the 2. So the actual length that I'm going to type in, now this is going to be a little annoying for you that you're going to have to highlight it and delete it, but I'm going to say 2 inches. Now it's important that you write that word inches in because there's other units that you can measure in. On the other side of most rulers, there's numbers that are closer together, and that's called centimeters. So the answer that you would get in inches and the answer that you would get for that same thing in centimeters isn't the same. So it's really important that you write what unit you're measuring in. So we're measuring in the unit of inches. All right. So then you're going to go through all these slides. There's several, and you're going to do that. Now, I will say you could be on this slide and you could get to this part where it says the type in box, and it could just be so frustrating for you and you don't want to do it. That's fine. What I would do is each one of these has a number, right? So this is the example slide. This is slide 2. So on your separate sheet of paper, maybe you write the number 2 and you have a column that says estimate and you have a column for actual. And so you can still move your ruler around and make an estimation and then actually measure so that you don't have to worry about typing and erasing and doing all that, because I know that that can be really frustrating. All right. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 ones for you to do by yourself. Okay. And all I want you to do is practice grabbing that ruler, lining it up. This is a good example because see how this bug has antennas? You're going to want to put your ruler at the very end of that antenna, not by its head, because then you're not measuring the whole bug. Okay? So that's what we're working on, getting that ruler right up to where that item is that we're measuring so that we get the correct answer. And again, you can type it here if you want, but if you don't want to waste time doing that, go ahead and set up a piece of paper and do an estimation column, an actual column, and write what you think your estimate is and then what the actual length is. All right? Okay, have fun. And remember, the goal is to be lining up that ruler. All right. Good luck.